The biggest mistake you're making right now is believing that your brokenness makes you unworthy of love, especially God's love. I need you to hear me clearly. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are not too far gone. And I know what you're thinking, but you don't know what I've done. You don't know what I've been through. I get it. I've been there too. There was a time when I was so crushed, so emotionally drained, I honestly believed I had nothing left to offer anyone, let alone God. But this is the message you've been searching for. Don't click away. Don't scroll. Stay with me until the end, because this could be the turning point you've been praying for. This isn't fluff. This is truth. God sees you. God knows you. And more than anything, He still sees you as worthy, even when you feel completely broken. Let's talk about it. Let me tell you something most people are too afraid to admit. Feeling broken doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're a failure. And it most definitely doesn't mean you're far from God. In fact, it might be the very thing that's drawing you closer to Him right now. Maybe you've been carrying the weight of something heavy, grief, betrayal, depression, heartbreak, regret, and you've gotten so used to the ache that you've started to believe this is just who you are now. You wake up tired, you smile when you have to, you pretend everything's fine, but inside it feels like something's shattered. You're holding the pieces and you don't know how to put yourself back together. I know that pain. I've lived in that silence, cried those tears, whispered prayers in the dark that I wasn't even sure God could hear. But listen to me. Just because you feel broken doesn't mean you are beyond repair. And more importantly, God is not disgusted by your brokenness. He is drawn to it. Psalm 34:18 tells us something powerful. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. That means your pain, your weakness, your crushed spirit, it's not pushing God away, it's pulling Him in. He's near, He sees you when no one else does. He hears the cries you never speak out loud, and He doesn't come with judgment, He comes with healing. You need to understand something deep here. We've been taught that strength means having it all together, but in God's eyes, strength is often found in surrender. When you admit, I can't do this on my own, that's when heaven leans in. That's when healing begins. Not when you pretend everything's okay, but when you bring the shattered pieces of your heart and lay them at His feet. And don't forget, Jesus Himself was not immune to sorrow. Isaiah 53:3 says He was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. He knows what it's like to feel pain, to be misunderstood, to be crushed. He walked through it so He could walk with you in yours. When you're hurting, He doesn't just sympathize. He empathizes. He has felt what you feel. He cried. He wept. He was abandoned. He was broken, so you would never have to be broken alone. The enemy wants to convince you that your brokenness disqualifies you, that you're too far gone, too messed up, too weak to be loved or used by God. But that's a lie. The truth, God sees beyond your brokenness. He sees the person you're becoming, not just the pain you're in. He sees your strength hidden beneath the sorrow. He sees the purpose buried beneath the pain. He sees the potential rising from the ashes of what was lost. And you need to hear this loud and clear. God doesn't love some future, fixed version of you. He loves you right now. In your lowest moment, in your darkest valley, in your deepest ache. His love doesn't waver based on your performance. His nearness isn't earned, it's promised. So stop hiding, stop pretending. Let him into the broken places. Because the truth is, what you see as damage, he sees as design. What you call ruined, he calls redeemable. And what you feel is the end, he can transform into a brand new beginning. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are not forgotten. God is near to you, right here, right now, and he sees you as worthy, even when you can't see it for yourself. You've been carrying your pain like it's your name. But what if you were never meant to wear it in the first place? I want you to let this truth settle into your bones. God's view of your worth has never changed. Not once. Not when you messed up. Not when you failed. Not when you were at your lowest. He didn't flinch. He didn't hesitate. He didn't stop loving you. Because the way he sees you is not based on your performance, it's based on your identity. And that identity is anchored in something eternal. You were created in the image of God. That's not just a poetic idea, it's a foundational truth. Genesis 1:27 declares it boldly. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. That means your value was woven into your design from the very beginning, before you made a mistake, before you ever doubted yourself, before the world tried to tell you who you were. You were already chosen, already set apart, already valuable beyond measure. But here's what happens to so many of us. We get wounded by life. We make poor choices. We listen to toxic voices. We get hurt. And then we start to believe the lie that our worth has somehow been diminished. That because we failed, we are failures. That because someone rejected us, we are unlovable. That because we feel broken, we must be worthless. But none of that is true in the eyes of God. Romans 5:8 flips the script. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Did you catch that? While we were still sinners. Not after we cleaned ourselves up, not after we earned it, not after we proved we were good enough. He gave his life while we were at our worst, not our best. That's what real love looks like. That's what unchanging worth looks like. And yet, you still might ask, if God sees me that way, why don't I feel it? Because your feelings are not facts. Your value is not measured by how you feel on your worst day. It's measured by the price that was paid for you. And that price was the blood of Jesus Christ. He didn't die for trash. He didn't sacrifice for something meaningless. He died for you, because to him, you were worth it. Even when you question yourself, even when you're drowning in self-doubt, God sees his purpose in you. He sees the calling on your life. He sees the fire that's still inside you, even if it feels like just a flicker right now. And he's not giving up on you, not now, not ever. The world may try to define you by your failures. People might label you by your past. But God calls you redeemed. He calls you beloved. He calls you his. And his voice is the only one that defines your worth. Not your parents, not your ex, not society, not even you. So today, I want you to look in the mirror and stop seeing a mistake. Stop seeing someone who's too far gone and start seeing what God sees. A soul worth dying for, a heart that's still beating with purpose, a person who is loved beyond reason and valuable beyond measure. And that's who you are. Nothing can change that. If your worth was never based on your performance, then what does God do with the mess you still can't clean up? You might think you have to fix everything in your life before you can come to God, that you need to clean yourself up, get it together, make it right, then maybe you'll be worthy of His love. But that's not how grace works. That's not how God works. Grace doesn't wait for perfection. Grace steps into your mess and makes it holy. Ephesians 2:8-9 couldn't be more clear. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. That means you don't earn grace, you don't deserve it, you just receive it. It's a gift from a God who loves you more than you can comprehend. When I was at one of my lowest points, when I felt like I'd blown every chance, grace found me. I didn't expect it. I didn't think I was worthy of it. But God met me right there, not with condemnation, but with compassion, not with judgment, but with joy. And in that moment I realized something that changed everything. Grace isn't about who I am, it's about who God is. So if you're tired of trying to earn God's love, stop. Just stop. He already gave it to you, freely, fully, forever. You don't have to climb your way up to God. He came down for you. And the arms that were stretched wide on the cross are still open today, ready to welcome you, not with disappointment, but with joy. That's grace. And that grace is yours right now. It's one thing to know you're forgiven, but what happens when the wound still throbs and the tears won't stop? There's a kind of pain no one sees, the kind that hides behind polite smiles, the ache that lives in the background of your chest, the heaviness that wakes you at 2 a.m. with tears you can't explain. I've felt it, you've probably felt it too. And in those moments, it's easy to ask, where is God in all of this? Why doesn't He just fix it? But what I've come to understand is this: healing doesn't begin with answers. It begins with presence. And the presence of God changes everything. Psalm 147.3 says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Not just the surface ones, the deep, hidden ones, the ones you've been too afraid to show. God doesn't turn away from your wounds. He draws closer to them. He kneels beside your pain. He reaches into what you thought was too damaged, too shameful, and He doesn't just patch it up. He restores it from the inside out. You don't have to perform for His presence. You don't need to find perfect words. All you need is a willing heart. When you create space for Him, through prayer, through worship, through raw honesty, He will meet you there. And when He shows up, things shift. Not always instantly, not always in the way you expect, but deeply, steadily, truly. Isaiah 61:1 tells us that God sent His Son to bind up the brokenhearted, to comfort all who mourn. That's why Jesus came, not to avoid pain, but to enter into it with us. When you feel overwhelmed, His presence gives peace that surpasses understanding. When you feel numb, His presence stirs your heart again. When you feel shattered, His presence begins to gather the broken pieces, gently, tenderly, patiently. Healing is a process. It takes time. But God walks with you every step of the way. Sometimes healing looks like a quiet moment where you finally let the tears fall. Sometimes it's the strength to open your Bible again. Sometimes it's simply whispering, God, help me, and feeling something flicker back to life inside your chest. Don't dismiss those moments. They aren't small, they are sacred. Because every time you take a step toward healing, you're stepping deeper into the embrace of God, and He will not let you go. You may feel tempted to isolate, to numb the pain, to pretend everything's okay. But what you need most isn't a solution, it's not a plan, it's a Father. One who holds you when you can't hold yourself together. One who speaks life into the places you've buried. One who stays even when everything else falls apart. Invite Him in, not just into the polished places, the ones you think are acceptable, but into the parts that are raw, real, and wrecked. Because that's where He does His most beautiful work. That's where healing truly begins. You don't have to fix yourself. You only have to let the healer in. Healing is powerful, but living like you've actually been healed, that takes something even deeper. It's time to stop living under the weight of lies you've carried for too long and start walking in the truth of the identity God gave you before your first breath. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not the labels that others stuck on you. You are not your trauma, your heartbreak, or your failure. You are a child of God, called, chosen, and marked by His redemptive love. And it's time you start living like it. I know it's not easy when you've lived in survival mode for so long, when your self-worth has been wrecked by betrayal, rejection, or abuse. It feels impossible to believe that there's more to you than pain. I've had those days where looking in the mirror felt like staring at a stranger, where all I could see were the cracks, the flaws, the shame. But hear me clearly, God does not see what you see. He sees a royal priesthood. He sees someone valuable, powerful, chosen. 1 Peter 2:9 says it with thundering clarity, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession. Let that truth sit in your spirit. God calls you His special possession, not because you're perfect, but because you're His. And when you embrace that identity, everything starts to change. You stop living like a prisoner to fear, to your past, to the opinions of others. You begin to move like someone sent by heaven. You walk with your head lifted, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment with truth. You start to understand that your scars don't make you weak. They make you dangerous to the darkness, because they testify that God's grace is real and alive in you. 2 Corinthians 5:17 declares, "If anyone is in Christ, they are a new creation. The old has gone, the new is here." That's not just a verse, it's a declaration of who you are now. You are no longer who you were. You're no longer defined by the chains that once held you. That old identity, rejected, addicted, forgotten, broken, it died when Christ took your place. And what rose from that grave wasn't just Him. It was a new you, clean, free, empowered. But you have to own it. You have to claim that identity daily. The enemy will come for your mind. He'll whisper, "You're still that same failure. You're not enough. You'll never change." But he is terrified of what will happen when you stop listening to him and start believing what God has always said about you. Because when you do, you become unstoppable. You stop apologizing for the calling on your life. You stop shrinking when you should be stepping forward. You begin to speak with boldness, love with power, lead with conviction. And even when life hits hard again, and it will, you'll know who you are and whose you are. So I'm asking you, will you keep letting your past define your identity? Or will you rise up into the truth that's been waiting for you all along? You are not defined by brokenness. You're defined by what God has spoken over you. And what He declares is this: you are chosen, you are royalty, you are His. So walk like it. You know who you are now, but will you live like it? When the world tells you to stay small, to shrink back, to play it safe, will you dare to believe that you were born for more? You weren't made to simply survive this life. You were created to carry God's light into it, to shake the ground you walk on, to live in a way that reflects the divine calling on your life. Not someday, not when you feel ready, but right now. The problem is, many of us hesitate. We say, I'm not perfect yet. I'm still struggling. I still feel weak. But that's exactly the point. You don't have to be flawless to be faithful. God calls people in the middle of their mess, not because they're qualified, but because He qualifies those He calls. Your brokenness doesn't cancel the purpose God placed in you. It magnifies His glory when you choose to walk it out anyway. Ephesians 4:1 urges us, live a life worthy of the calling you have received. This isn't a casual suggestion. It's a divine invitation. You weren't created to blend in. You weren't called to dim your light or silence your voice. You have been marked by heaven for a reason. You've got work to do. But don't get it twisted. Living worthy of your calling doesn't mean living perfectly. It means living obediently. It means saying yes even when you're afraid. It means showing up when everything inside you says to give up. It means choosing faith over fear, truth over comfort, purpose over popularity. And you might still wonder, why would God use someone like me? Because you've been through the fire. And people who have walked through pain carry a power that can't be manufactured. God specializes in using broken vessels, not just to show His glory, but to bring healing to others. 2 Timothy 2:21 paints the picture clearly. Those who cleanse themselves will be instruments for special purposes, made holy, useful to the Master. That's you. You are an instrument in God's hands, and the melody He wants to play through your life, it's one of redemption, strength, and unstoppable grace. So don't let fear talk you out of your future. Don't let insecurity silence your voice. Get up, move forward, speak boldly, love fiercely, serve relentlessly. Live in such a way that when people see your life, when you stumble, when the enemy tries to drag you back to who you used to be, remind him of who you are now, redeemed, chosen, and sent. So stand tall, even if your knees are shaking. Show up, even if your voice quivers, because you're not doing this on your own. The King of Heaven stands behind you. You are worthy, not because of anything you've done, but because of who He is. And He is calling you to rise, to walk, and to live like it. Before we end this moment, I need you to do one last thing. Don't just hear this, step into it. What we've talked about isn't just truth to believe, it's an identity to embody. But before you can walk fully in your calling, you must receive it deep in your spirit. Right now, wherever you are, slow down, breathe. Close your eyes if you're able. This isn't just a closing prayer. It's a personal encounter with the one who sees you as worthy, even in the middle of your brokenness. Pray with me now, out loud if you can. Don't just listen. Let your voice speak the truth your heart's been holding back. Father, I come to you just as I am. No pretending, no mask, no performance, just me, wounded, weary, confused, but here I am. Lord, I lay every shattered piece before you, every silent cry, every buried memory, every scar. You see it all, and you still call me yours. I surrender the lie that I have to fix myself to be loved. I surrender the belief that my brokenness makes me unworthy. Right now, I give you all of me, nothing hidden, nothing withheld. And now, I declare truth over my mind, my soul, and my story. I am not a mistake. I am not forgotten. I am not disqualified. I am who you say I am, chosen, loved, pursued. Even in my lowest valley, you called me worthy, not because I earned it, but because you decided it. Your word says I am made in your image, and I choose to believe it, even when it's hard. God, I lay down the shame I've carried too long, the guilt that haunted my nights, the regret that robbed my peace, the voices that told me I'd never be enough. I give you the weight I was never meant to carry. I release the pain I buried so deep, I forgot it was still bleeding. And I choose right now to walk in freedom, because where your spirit is, there is liberty. I proclaim this over myself. I am a new creation in Christ. The old has passed, the new has come. I am not defined by my past. I am not bound by my wounds. I am a child of God. I am royalty. I have divine purpose, and I will rise. Father, plant your purpose in my spirit once more. Show me what you've called me to build. Send me where you've called me to go. Use my scars to lead others to healing. Use my story to shine with your glory. Even when I feel small, remind me that your spirit lives inside me. And if you're with me, I have nothing to fear. I was made for more. I was born for kingdom purpose. And today, I say yes to my calling. And now, God, I receive your blessing. Bless me with courage to rise again. Bless me with clarity to move forward. Bless me with boldness to speak truth. Bless me with joy that breaks depression. Bless me with peace that calms every storm. Bless me with love that reminds me of who I am in you. Let my life be a living testimony that you still heal, still restore, still choose the broken. I am yours, and I am ready. Stay near, Lord. Don't let me drift from this moment. Draw me closer to your heart. Whisper to me when I forget the truth. Hold me when I feel weak. Walk with me every step of the way, because I never want to do life without you again. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. If this word stirred something in your spirit, don't let it stop with you. You're not just a listener. You are a carrier of this message. When you give, when you pour into this mission, you become a messenger of healing for someone else who is still drowning in silence. Someone who hasn't yet discovered that God calls them worthy too. Every super thanks, every membership, every PayPal seed, link is in the description below, becomes like oil poured out, an anointed offering that helps fuel the fire of God's voice going out across the world. You've asked, Lord, how can I make a difference? This is one way, right here, right now, not just with words, but with action. This is your moment to turn faith into movement. He said, give and it will be given to you. And he never lies. Heaven responds to obedience. As you sow, may God pour back into your life with overflowing favor for your home, peace for your thoughts, provision in barren places, and divine protection wrapped around you like holy armor. You've received the word, now release the echo. Act, click, give. Let your generosity speak louder than your pain. Partner with heaven and watch what God unlocks through your simple yes. Before you scroll away, take this moment and make it real. If this message resonated with your soul, don't leave quietly. Let both heaven and hell hear who you are. Declare it right now in the comments. God sees me as worthy even when I feel broken, and I believe it. Type it, declare it, claim it. This is more than a comment. It's a prophetic stand, a moment of faith in motion. And as you do it, know this: you are not alone. You are part of a family of warriors, sons and daughters, rising from brokenness into boldness. And if you're ready to go deeper, if you're saying, "That was for me," subscribe. Share this with someone still hurting. And keep showing up. This isn't the end of your healing. It's the beginning of your rising. Amen.